Improve your critical thinking. The Socratic Method. Why questions are more powerful than answers. Imagine standing in a courtroom, accused of corrupting an entire generation. Not because you committed a crime, not because you started a rebellion, but because you asked too many questions. That was the fate of Socrates, one of history's most influential philosophers. More than 2,400 years later, his greatest teaching isn't a famous quote or a groundbreaking theory. It's a simple habit that can completely transform the way you think. Asking better questions. The man who claimed to know nothing. Unlike many teachers, Socrates rarely gave lectures. He didn't tell people what to believe. In fact, he often insisted that he knew nothing at all. Instead of giving answers, he asked questions. And then, more questions. Each answer became the starting point for another question, gradually exposing hidden assumptions, contradictions, and weak reasoning. His goal wasn't to win arguments, it was to help people discover the truth for themselves. This approach eventually became known as the Socratic Method, a lesson about justice. One famous example comes from a dialogue written by Plato. A young man confidently tells Socrates that he understands justice. Easy enough. Lying is unjust. Stealing is unjust. Case closed. But Socrates asks something unexpected. What if a military general lies to protect his soldiers? The student hesitates. Maybe lying isn't always wrong. Then Socrates asks another question. What if you steal weapons from someone who has become dangerously unstable? Again, the definition begins to crack. The more questions Socrates asks, the more complicated the idea of justice becomes. The student doesn't leave with certainty. He leaves realizing that true understanding is much harder than memorizing simple rules. Why questions work? Socrates compared himself to a midwife. A midwife doesn't create the baby, she helps bring it into the world. Likewise, Socrates believed knowledge already exists inside people. The right questions help bring that understanding to the surface. Instead of filling someone's mind with information, he helped them examine their own beliefs. Sometimes they discovered they were right. Other times, they realized their confidence had been built on shaky foundations. And that's exactly the point. Real learning begins when certainty disappears. A method that changed education. The Socratic Method didn't disappear with ancient Greece. It spread across centuries. Doctors used it to teach medical students how to reason through difficult diagnoses. Scientists applied it to test ideas instead of accepting assumptions. Law schools adopted it to train future lawyers to think critically under pressure. Even today, judges, researchers, professors, and business leaders rely on carefully crafted questions to uncover better solutions, because the best decisions rarely come from quick answers. They come from deeper thinking. Why it still matters today. Modern life rewards instant opinions. Social media encourages immediate reactions. Search engines deliver answers in seconds. But fast answers aren't always good answers. The ability to pause, to question, and to examine your own assumptions has become increasingly rare. Ironically, the most intelligent people often spend less time proving they're right and more time asking whether they're wrong. That mindset is exactly what Socrates tried to teach over 2,000 years ago. The price of asking questions. Unfortunately, not everyone appreciated his approach. Many leaders in Athens believed his questions encouraged people to challenge authority and tradition. Eventually, Socrates was put on trial. He was convicted and sentenced to death. Yet according to history, he remained remarkably calm until the very end. Because for Socrates, questioning wasn't simply a teaching technique, it was a way of living. Conclusion. The Socratic Method reminds us that wisdom isn't measured by how many answers you have. It's measured by the quality of the questions you're willing to ask. The next time you're absolutely certain about something, pause. Ask one more question. It might change everything.